Like I could officially talk to y'all about like how to study for registry, what did I do to prepare for my registry, things that I use to prepare for my registry. So we're gonna like go down this little road and just talk about it like briefly, a little bit quick. I'll explain to y'all how I studied, like the tools that I use to study, and make more sense, because I've been telling people that I use the little what is it, like the sheet on the ARRT website that they give you, telling you like what's on there. So I'm gonna explain to y'all like how to look at these things, what to look for, and how do you use this as a guide. ARRT does provide you with a study guide, like a concept guide, to help you understand what concepts will be touched up on the registry. To be honest, I feel like if you struggle with procedures, you should use this guide. So I'm gonna like display in the corner like the concept guide and like how you use this concept guide to look for your materials. So we're gonna look at sure like a lot of people struggle with like the abdomen studies, like all this stuff in the GI studies. So let's start off right here. Cystography, GI studies. So I know that they're gonna ask me about that. So this is what I would do. I personally will go to my book. I will go to my book. So y'all see that I have all these books in here: ARRT, cross-sectional book, Lang, and other stuff. So you can use Bontrager's, but realistically, before there was a Bontrager's, there was Murals. So the registry is going to touch base on the Murals more than they would Bontrager's, if that makes sense, because that's like a extra third party. So we're going to go to volume 2. So when you have your ebooks, the good thing about your ebooks, let's look into it. Let's see if we know what chapter. Hold on. Okay, so in the book it talks about like retrograde cystograph, and as far as like anything, you can look these things up like on that portion of the content spectrum that I was just showing y'all. So I search in my book cystograph, and you're gonna read here like it just says usually take cystograms of adult patients on a 10x12. You already know, like that's your IR size. So that's one note you can use. You already know you're gonna use a 10x12. They're not gonna ask you about the centimeters, they don't. And then they'll ask you like, what do you center? So 10x12, you're centering your IR at the level of the soft tissue depression just above the prominent of the greater trochanter. Boom. And then like small details out of here, like that is just saying like what would you do in this procedure. And it says like physicians will remove the catheter clamps and the bladder is drained in preparation for the introduction of contrast. So like they're injecting the contrast in it. They obviously want to see some sort of trauma. So like those little things can tell you like, oh, like this is all they need. So you sit in here, you put your CR here. You're gonna use a 10x12. Doctors are doing this because you'll get the best view of the image when the bladder is empty, because you're gonna fill it with contrast. So from that point on, you see it talks about the cystographic images generally consist of 4 projections, 1 AP, oblique, and 1 lateral. So you already know, like, okay, like we're just doing those, like side to side, lateral, boom. And that's the type of notes I was taking. That's what I was doing. So say for instance, we're gonna look at a method. Let's look at ERCP. Let's look at ERCP. So right here it talks about what it stands for: endoscopic retrograde cholangio pancreatic cystography. Yeah, we know that. If you don't know that, like, then just write it out. And so we got that down. Now we're gonna talk about it a little bit. Let's see. So right here it's stating that what would I start? So basically, in ultrasound, CT, MRI, nuclear medicine have reduced radiographic images of the biliary tract, primarily to directly inject procedures, percutaneous, transhepatic cholangiogram. Okay, so post-operative T2 cholangiogram and endoscopic retrograde cholangiogram pancreatography. The contrast agent selected for the use and direct injection technique may be water soluble. So what I would do, I put ERCP, the best contrast, like you're gonna put ERCP is directly injected, and you want a water soluble iodinated compounds for this exam. So I would just put that. That was far as like what to do. See, we're on the page. So you have it here where it states, like, this whole page is basically about it. So pretty much you're gonna go through this and you're gonna summarize the things that deals with ERCP, why it's used, what patients should avoid, like small stuff, like little stuff. They really just want to know, like, why are we doing this? What does it stand for? The contrast agent, and like, say for instance, I didn't have anything on my registry that just said like, what is it, like the problems and stuff. You just know, like, you're looking at it's a diagnostic method when the biliary ducts are not dilated and when no obstruction exists at the ampulla. That is what you need to know. That's what you need to know. It goes on a little bit more. You can write some of it just for extra information. So you see this picture, the registry will pop up a picture like this, and you have to label it. You have to label it, and they're going to ask you what, like, I don't know if they say like what method or what exam is this. You already know. ERCP, when you see that tube, when you see how that is highlighting the biliary ducts and stuff, you know that's an ERCP image. And it's a PA projection. Because these, like I said, when you study for procedures, they're referencing back to this book. And it's a good thing in my opinion because it's straight to the point. And if you do this, you'll be fine. So let's look up, we're going to look up another method. Let's get out of abdomen. Let's talk about okay, so say for instance, like this, on this picture it says bone age and bone survey. So it's the other section. So I'm going to type in bone age. Mind you, I'm going back and forth between volume 1 and volume 2 of the murals because mainly these things are in there. So let's type it in. Bone age. Now I'm on volume 1 looking for bone age. It's loading. Good. Listen, bone age is taking a long time to load, like it is. So we'll just skip it. Don't worry about it. Let's talk about skull. So head work. So if I go back in volume 2, volume 1 is pretty thick, and I feel like that's why it's having a hard time to load all these things because when you talk about bone age, you're talking about like the bone marrow. Like as you get older, the bone starts to harden. Like Or it could be like, I feel like it goes along with radiation, like safety and bio, because like at a certain point, you know, additive or destructive diseases and stuff play along with bone age. So like, if you know additive and destructive, like, you'll be fine. So don't worry about bone age. Let's talk skull. We said AP skull. Shoot. And it's loading. Let's see. So many pictures. We're gonna type it in just like that. I said AP skull, but we just need to put AP axial town, the Towns method. Oh. So like right here, cranium, AP axial town. So this is telling you the summary of the projection and what they'll talk about. This goes in depth about the skull. Like, I highly recommend you go over this if you don't understand skull and some of the stuff that they, like, you know, methods and stuff they shoot. So I'm trying to get to where we start breaking it down. And here's a list of pathologies. If you want to read them and go over it, I would briefly summarize those because they touch on a little bit like the common pathologies, but not too much. So, alright, I think we're getting close. Oh, of course, they start with the lateral projection. PA Caldwell, we're getting there, we're getting there. Here we go. So the AP axial town. So they're gonna ask you the image receptor size. You already know it's a 10 by 12. SID is 40. They really want to know if you know why you use the Towns method. Although this technique is most commonly referred as the Town method, numerous authors have described in different ways. Like, you don't like. Okay, here it is. Oshkor recommended strong depression of the chin, directed of the central ray through the foramen magnum at the column angle of 40. It is recommended that the patient's chin is depressed to the central ray to be directed through the mid-sagittal plane, about 3 inches above the eyebrow to the foramen magnum. So this is what you need to know when they talk about centering, the angle and stuff. And this position depends on the like flexion of the neck. With the patient supine or seated upright, okay, it'll say like center the mid-sagittal plane of the patient's body to the midline of the grid. So like this little stuff, like summarize this. Don't do too much. If you don't do, they'll ask you a question like, see, it says the Haas method is the reverse of the axial projection and produces a comparable result. So Registry be like, if you can't do AP Towns, what can you do? You could be like the Caldwell, the Haas, or you know, whatever. And you already know, oh, if I can't do AP Towns, then I can do the Haas method. So stuff like that, like they ask stuff like that, if that makes sense. So basically, that's how I use that content guide, like with procedures. I did use it in physics as well, but the way I did it with physics, I was going and referencing this textbook right here. So it says image production, you know, when your content spectrum, for instance, let me go up. Just screenshot it. And the same thing, the same rules apply to this. Like it says on here, like the first one, fixed versus variable KVP. So what I normally do is search it. I'll type in fixed KVP and I look up all the things of us, like not us, but like them talking about it. Like if you have a fixed KVP, you have a variable mass. Like, okay, so this is just giving me like types of technique charts. Oops. Variable KVP and a fixed mass. Like, okay, they talk about that, but we want to know, it's different than iPad, so I'm sorry. So E says uses fixed KVP while the machine controls the variable mass. So we can go back. I had the book with this, for instance, and I will look this up, but the book, the way like it's in the book, it's kind of like, it's a little different. I wish I had my book to go through it. It's loading, I'm so sorry. How I just looked up, like in the book of the principles radiographic imaging, I just searched up fixed KVP and I just click on one of these two. Like this right here says, because fixed KVP technique systems tend to utilize higher optimal KVP levels, they usually reduce patient entrance skin exposure. So I'm taking a note, I'm writing that next to that, like fixed KVP. Anything, any little information just to know, like you just summarize it, do not write the whole book. Like I said, with the ebooks, the good thing about it, you don't have to flip through a page and find it. Type in the keywords and it'll take you to it. So I wrote that down, okay? Let's see what else we can do. But also look, like here's your chart. The effects, pretty much talking about like the dose to the patient and like pretty much variables increased by the image receptor exposure. Like what to do if you basically showing you the effects of radiographic exposure variables on patient dose. So look at this chart. You see this chart, so you know everything you're about to read from maybe this last page, so you keep going, is going to explain to you what this chart is referring to. And that same chart is on this content study guide, so you know it's registry related. You just small things, even if you go in detail, but I feel like with physics you do have to go in depth. It's okay for your stuff in physics to be lengthy versus like procedures is vague, like CR, it's for this, for that, boom. But physics, it's a deeper understanding because I feel like everything connects once it starts clicking. So you have your Mosby's ARRT study guide book, and then you have like your all these physics books like principles and stuff like that. You can use these ebooks to go back and forth and search the different things you found for each topic that's in these bullet points. There's no right or wrong way to answer this. On top of that, you do need RadTech Bootcamp. I use RadTech Bootcamp a lot for physics. If you use RadTech Bootcamp for physics and take the notes, you will do just fine. And once you like go through everything that's on that content guide, using all the study materials you have, take a practice exam over the like a mock registry on the RadTech Bootcamp, because whatever you make on there, they say subtract 1 or 2 points or add it or whatever, and you can kind of get to know like how close you will be to passing the registry. Because I kept making like, I started off when I first started, I was making like 70s. I was like, okay, this ain't good. So 2 days before my registry, I went back on and took like a mock registry after breaking down the spec check, like the content spec guide for ARRT. After I had officially finished and started going over things, and I actually did the 200 question exam or whatever, I made like an 82. Then I took my registry and made an 84. So it was not that much off. That's why I'm just like, hey, like if y'all need me to go in more depth, or just to show y'all or walk y'all through it with y'all, like comment below or say something, I can go a little bit more in depth. But I hope this makes sense on like how I studied or what I did to study. I was trying to give y'all a recap of my work week too, because a lot of people just want to like see what I do at work. But it's kind of pretty hard. I just came off call, so it was kind of hard getting content. Ebooks. I've been posting them in my TikTok, LinkedIn, and then I'll have the LinkedIn down below, so you'll have these books. And like I said, the good thing about ebooks, you can search up what you're looking for instead of spending hours rolling through a book. It's right there. So if that makes sense, so pretty much that's what I did with that content spectrum. I would just see the bullet points, go and search them in the Mosby's, search them in my Murals, or just any textbooks that I used throughout that time. And then once I gather that information, then I go to RadTech Bootcamp. In RadTech Bootcamp, they'll give you a video and they'll explain things too, and you still take notes from that, because like you might have missed some things, you know, reading through the book, because you know sometimes the book doesn't have everything, but you will do fine. Like every study method is different. Your study method might be different from mine, but this is what helped me pass ARRT. That guide on their website literally has everything, and it's not given to you to just be like, oh well, just look over this. No, use it, because this is basically the registry. If you could do just like, if you do good in procedures, you'll pass the registry. And patient care. So if you don't do that good at image production or any type of like physics, you still have things to outweigh everything when they round it up. But I personally still would want to go over physics, because like I have at least 5 or 6 math questions. I got beat up in math. Luckily, I like the math, and I was like, okay, like you figured it out. But some things on there, like their math questions, could have been like the extra dummy questions that they put on the test. Could have been just those. Some of them were harder, and I didn't understand it, but I was just like, okay, now I know you do this to get this. Like, why is my number slightly off? But then again, I was like, maybe I should round it and this to be that. So you'll come to those conclusions and you'll get there. But it's okay to flag the questions that you're not sure about. I had flagged a bunch of them, but I didn't, like, I started going through it and I was like, look, I'm not second guessing. Go. Just hit submit. And when I got my grade, I was like, so imagine if I went back and changed all those answers. I'm so glad I did not do that. So that's a good thing about, like, don't ever second guess yourself. Your first choice is always the right choice. So yeah, like that's my advice to everybody. And as far as like everybody that is starting the program and like, you know, new to it, I always say this: go in the program, be open-minded. Don't get in there like Don't get in there thinking like, oh, like, you know, I failed my exam, but such and such made a 90. Like, what did she do? It doesn't matter, because the next test, she could probably fail it. He could probably fail it. Like, you know, everybody is going to go through something to get to where they need to be. And you're going to fail a few exams. They're going to pass a few and fail a few too. But don't let that be your worry about what you made. As long as you pass or you try, you know, it's still something. Effort, like, effort is what you need to put in. Put in the effort, put in the time. Like, you might be the type of person where it takes you more time to grasp material, and it's okay. I felt like I was that person, and once it started clicking, I was already like 2-3 semesters in. I was like, oh, like, why did this not click first semester? And it's okay, because you'll have those moments. Now, as far as like positioning in clinic, I'm a hands-on person. You can explain it to me all day, but I have to do it myself for it to make sense. I'm that kind of person. And like in some situations, you get with people at clinical sites that have to talk about it instead of you doing it. But it's okay to be like, hey, like, you know, can I just do it? Like, my learning style is, you know, I have to do it. You know, you could tell me, but it doesn't make sense to me unless I do it. You could say that, you know. It's not offensive or nothing. It's your learning style, because that's what works best for you, you know. But everybody is going to be going through something. Y'all all are on a journey. And you'll make friends. You'll network. But your end goal at the end of the day is to make sure you pass the program, and you're ready for registry. So, yeah, like, take everything serious. Like, this is your career. So, if you guys have any questions, I'm always open to y'all. Like, DMing me on TikTok, commenting down below, like, in the comment section, or just making comments. I try my best to answer everybody. I'll go live, like, throughout the week when I get off work, just to talk to y'all about things. And right now, from what I'm seeing and hearing, X-ray is more competitive competitive, because like now everybody's like, oh shit, like, I don't have to go to school to do this and make this type of money. I can just do that. But it's not. Anyways, my camera got out. But it's not always about the money. Like, you want to get a job that you enjoy. I see a lot of people always asking about salary and stuff like that. But I feel like you want a salary to keep up with a certain lifestyle. Like, maybe go be a doctor, or like go a little bit more further, because like, I don't know everybody's goals and intentions. Like, I graduated at 24. I'm 25 now. I know right now, like, I am financially irresponsible. Like, we all can be financially irresponsible, because like, when you don't have kids and you can take advantage of certain things, like, you just do it because it's just like YOLO. But like, I'm saying this to like expectation of salary goals. I can tell you what I make all day long, but I don't live in the state you live in. And certain states might underpay. Some states might pay more. Like, it literally just depends. And like, radiology techs and like nurses, it is comparable. Like, nurses have their own paths of going. Like, they can do different things besides being bedside. And that's like just how, like, we have CT, MRI to, like, those chances to make more money. They have their own things to make more money too. And, you know, I feel like a lot of people see, like, oh, like, you know, people are getting these $3,000, $4,000 checks a week, but you got to think about it. Travel jobs have always been around. You could always get a travel job and make that kind of money. Go do it. Like, hey, go do it. Stack up your money. And a lot of people that I know, they travel when they get out of school. There is a company that will take new grads as traveling. They came to my school. I'll link it below if anybody wants it. But like, me saying this, look into the modalities. Know what you want to do. Like, you gotta have a plan. Everybody starts somewhere, and you can't just be like, should I do this or should I do that? Like, it's not always about the money, because when you get offered for a job, like, y'all need to look at things of what is a new grad making at this job, or in this job, at this modality. If I'm not, like, say for instance, like, I see a lot of people comparing nursing. I think ER nurses get paid more than some of the, like, ICU nurses, stuff like that. Some people can get paid more in like PD X-ray, like doing PD X-ray or ortho X-ray than regular X-ray. Like it's just different. Like every field has their own what'll pay you more, or what experience to get you to get to this and stuff like that, if it makes sense. But like, think longevity. Like after a while, like I know at a certain age I wouldn't want to be traveling for work or being a traveler. Like, you know, you get to a certain age, you're like, oh, I think I want to settle down, have a family, blah blah blah. You know, stuff like that. Like you have to think long term. So start thinking long term. In reality, money isn't everything. Money, what do they say? Money is the root of all evil. And at the end of the day, you can make all this money, but if anything happens, does it go with you? No. Thing, like you want to enjoy, like you want to enjoy your career, you want to enjoy what you do. Like you're doing this because you like it, not because like, oh, I'm just doing this for the money. You don't want to have an attitude, because it'll show in your work. It'll show like how you treat your patients. Like you have to be passionate about things, and that's not a bad thing to do. Like I am an IR tech. That's something I wanted to do. A lot of these patients I can relate to, because like a lot of stuff they're going through, I watched family members go through that. During my X-ray program in school, my aunt passed away, and a lot of her procedures were in IR. And at that time, I was about to like start rotating through there, and the days that she needed stuff done, she wasn't there the days that I went. But I think that was a good thing, because I know I didn't want to see her going through stuff like that. But then sometimes I wish I did see her, because I could have told her like, hey, like this to make you feel better, like just do it, I'm right here with you. And you know, like you can connect to these patients because you know how they feel. They're scared, even though they come and go. Some patients we get them like throughout like the spare of weeks. Like we'll end up seeing them the next week and the next week and the next week. Like, and you watch them progress to get better. Like there's things that you could do, and like it's just a good thing that this experience will take you a long way. And I did post a video on TikToks of how you could be an X-ray tech and get in the medical cells device and stuff like that, and move up in that kind of thing. Like there's so many opportunities that we have. Like we have just as much as opportunities as anyone else. But I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I make $250,000 a year and blah blah blah. I feel like if you want that salary, you need to look for an occupation and a degree that pays that salary. But like realistically, long term, IR, cath lab, MRI, they're paying over $100,000 a year easily. And with everything and us being more recognized, we're gonna, like, as X-ray techs and throughout on this journey, I just seen that ARRT has a petition to sign for us to be professional healthcare workers instead of technical. Because if we're still technical people, anybody can do our job, and we don't want that, because if that's the case, they're not gonna pay us more. So we switch, we'll get paid more, we'll get the get the flowers we deserve. So I recommend everybody go sign that petition. That's a good thing too. But yeah, as far as like anything else, I did do MRI tech assistant. That was a really cool job because it got me experience with MRI. I did do a CT program. CT was pretty cool too, but CT just wasn't for me. Like, I feel like you don't get that time to like see like or deeply understand the detail of what's going on with this pathology, or certain things, and MRI gives you that. So that's why I'm a little interested in MRI. And on top of that, in IR and cath lab, CT and MRI is used for procedures with like pediatrics. If the patient is over a certain size, we do have to do it with CT. I do use CT at my job, but I don't do diagnostic stuff with CT, like running contrast and normal outpatient stuff. It's just more surgery based, if that makes sense. But it's pretty cool though. So y'all comment down below. I really hope this video is informative. I really hope I help y'all out. That's my goal, is to help y'all. Help y'all as, students, help y'all as like techs to get to where y'all need to be. And another thing I will show y'all before I go, how to get a job in IR cath lab. I'm gonna like mirror some job things on here that's gonna tell you, like, for instance, I actually have them on my phone, but I will post them on one of these sides. So, for instance, it'll say endovascular rad tech 1. That's IR. And you wouldn't know that if I didn't tell you. Or it could be like vascular technologist. That's IR, that's cath lab. Interventional radiology, neuroendovascular tech. That is IR, but that's neuro. It'll say cath lab rad tech 1. Okay? When it says like 1 or 2, so 1 is mainly like, hey, we'll take you as a newbie. We'll take you. Cath lab tech, IR tech 1, we'll take you as a newbie. No experience, cool. Even if it says preferred, that doesn't mean that you have to have it still apply to the job. Like, you would never know if you don't apply. For instance, if it says rad tech special procedures, it could be IR, it could be cath lab. Like, sometimes they'll say like, oh, special procedures, cath lab. Okay, cool. So you already know, okay, it's cath lab. Or sometimes they'll just say special procedures tech. So if that makes more sense, now you know how to go about job, like picking a job. So yeah, that was another thing I need to touch up on. But you know what? I am going to get off here because I need to finish cleaning and stuff. But I really, really hope this video helps y'all. I don't really know what else to say, but like, good luck to everyone on their journey, and good luck to the new techs out here. I'm still a new tech myself because I've only been a tech for a year, but in reality, we still go through stuff. Every day feels like my first day at a job. So don't even feel bad. Don't ever feel like you're lost or you're trying to figure out what to do, where to go about things. Like, we all been there. We all done that, and it's okay.